Good morning students. In the last class we have seen how to implement the thread class. Okay, so in this class I am going to talk about thread life cycle. I am going to talk about thread life cycle. So how a thread is created, how it will be processed, and how it will be terminated. So it have different states. A thread is also have life cycle. Thread is having a life cycle, how a thread is created, how a thread will be processed, and how a thread will be terminated. So it will move, for example, one thread is created, it have one state. Suppose one thread is processed, so it have moved to the another state, and thread will be terminated, it have another state. During the life cycle of the thread, a thread enter into the many states. So during the life cycle of a thread enters into the many states. So here, what are the states available in thread life cycle? First one is newborn state. Second one is runnable state. So first one is newborn, runnable state, and running state. So next one blocked state and dead state. So these all are 5 states about thread life cycle. So suppose if a thread is created, it have one state. So a thread will be processed, it will move one state to another state. During the life cycle of a thread will move one state to another state. So these all are 5 states about thread life cycle: newborn state, runnable state, running state, blocked state, and dead state. Let us see the life cycle of thread. So here newborn state. Newborn means just a thread has been created. In the newborn state, a thread is created. Newborn state means just a thread is created. After thread is created, so it will move. First of all, a thread is created, so it is newborn state. It is a newborn state. Next one, after thread has been created, it will move to the runnable state. In the runnable state, thread is waiting for the CPU. So in the runnable state, thread is ready for execution and it is waiting for the process. So after CPU is ready, it will move runnable state to running state. So in these two states, suppose a thread will move one state to another states, it have number of methods. So thread is a class, it is a predefined class. So generally a class contains variables, methods and constructors. So in order to access all the methods of a thread class, first we have to create object of thread class, then we can accessing what are the methods available in thread class. So during the life cycle of a thread can have a number of methods. Suppose yield methods. So in this one, it causes currently executing thread. So what is the importance of yield method means? It causes currently executing of the thread, temporarily pause and allows another thread for execution. So in this situation, we can use yield method. So after entering into the running state, a thread CPU executes our thread. Okay, so in the runnable state, thread is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. After that, it will move to the running state. In the running state, thread is executed by the CPU. So in this state, if any interrupts are there, in running state, if any interrupts are there, like IO interrupts or any interrupts are there, it will move to the blocking state. So if any interrupts are not there, so it will move to the stop. It will move to the dead state. It is nothing but a thread life cycle. So I will briefly explain these states. Let us see first one, newborn state. So newborn state means a thread has been created. In the newborn state, thread is created. So in the newborn state means just when we create a thread. Suppose when we create a thread, so the thread is born and it is said to be newborn state. So thread is a predefined class. With respect to the class, we can create object. Generally, a class contains variables, methods and constructors. In order to accessing methods of a class, just we have to create object of thread class. Suppose here I am creating object of the thread class. Thread t equal to new thread. Just here I am creating object of the thread class. So it is said to be which state? So whenever we can creating object of the thread, just we can create a thread. The thread is said to be which state? Newborn state. So whenever we can creating a thread, the thread is said to be newborn state. So here we may do following. First one is schedule it for running using start method. We can schedule using which method? Start method. So we can call the start method. we can call the start method, it will move to the runnable state. So when after thread has been created, so we can explicitly call the start method, it will move to the runnable state. It will move to the runnable state. Next one is kill it by using stop method. So we can explicitly call the stop method. So the thread move its state, newborn state to dead state. Newborn state to dead state. It is nothing but newborn state. Again I am repeat, please try to understand. Newborn state, first state in the thread life cycle, first state is newborn state. Newborn state means a thread has been created. So whenever a thread has been created, it is said to be newborn state. So in the newborn states, we may do following steps. First step is, so we can schedule it for running by using start method. Next one, kill it by using stop method. So whenever a thread has been created, it is newborn state. Whenever we can call the start method, it will move to the runnable state. So whenever we can call the stop method, it will move to the dead state. So after newborn state, suppose if I call the start method, so the thread will changes the state from newborn state to runnable state. Next coming state is runnable state. Let us see the runnable state. So here the runnable state means the thread is ready for execution. So in the runnable state, already thread has been created in the newborn state. In the runnable state, thread has ready for its execution. So in the runnable state, thread is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU and waiting for the processor. So who executes our programs? Processor executes our programs. So a number of threads are waiting. A number of threads are waiting in the queue. A number of threads are waiting in the queue in the runnable state. So in this one, threads are ready for execution and waiting for the processor and waiting for the CPU. After CPU is ready, after processor is ready, thread will move runnable state to running state. Here, runnable state means the thread is ready for execution. So it is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. So here thread has joined on the queue. So in this runnable state, multiple threads are there. Suppose we have number of threads like T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 and so on. So threads are executing concurrently. Threads are executing concurrently. In multi-threading means multi-threads are executing concurrently one by one. Because thread is nothing but a functionality which could be executing another part of the program. In multi-threading environment, multiple threads are executing concurrently. So here we have number of threads are there like T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. These all threads are waiting on the queue. These all threads are waiting on the queue. So in this one runnable state, so all threads have equal priority. All threads have equal priority. So first of all, so number of threads are waiting in the CPU. So here runnable state means, so the runnable state means the thread is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. So here thread has joined on the queue. So number of threads are joined on the queue and waiting for the execution. So in this one, all threads have equal priority. So in this one, these all threads, multiple threads are waiting in the queue. All threads have equal priority. All threads have equal priority. All threads are equal priority. So next one, here, then they are given time slots for execution. Then they are given time slots for execution in round robin fashion. In round robin fashion or first come first serve manner. First come first serve manner. Suppose in the runnable state, number of threads are so CPU executes number of threads. So all threads are waiting. So and it is waiting for the CPU. So when in the runnable state, threads are ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. Multiple threads are waiting on the queue. All threads have equal priority. So whenever they are given time slots for execution, round robin fashion or first come first serve manner. Here round robin fashion. Round robin fashion means, so in the queue number of threads are waiting. So number of threads are waiting in the queue, all threads are equal priority. So here given the time slots means, so it execute round robin fashion or first come first serve manner. Round robin fashion means, so CPU, just let suppose T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. Just let us imagine first thread executes its task. It takes 2 minutes time. It takes 2 milliseconds time. So T1 takes 2 milliseconds to execute its task. Next T2 takes 4 milliseconds to execute its task. Next T3 takes 5 milliseconds. It executes its task. Next T4 takes 6 milliseconds. So it completion of its task. Like that, some time slicing is given. So here round robin fashion means, so in the queue number of threads are waiting on the queue. So we can take one quantum value. Suppose we can take a quantum value is 2 milliseconds. So first thread finishes its execution. Next the second thread finishes its execution. Next again 2 milliseconds time is required. So again T2 waiting on the queue. Again T2 waiting on the queue. It have 2 milliseconds time. It takes 2 milliseconds time to finish its execution. Next T3. So after that T3 finishes its execution. Again 3 milliseconds time is there. Again T3 also waiting on the queue. Next T5 again 4 milliseconds time is required to complete its execution. So again T2, T3, T5 waiting on the queue. Next after that again CPU checks any threads are waiting on the queue or not. Again follows the same procedure. So after time slice is completed, it finishes its execution. Otherwise again it will move to the waiting state and waiting for CPU execution. So in this fashion, number of threads are executing on the CPU. Next one, first come first serve manner means so in the queue, so who entered the first that thread finishes its execution. Next, what is the next thread going to get executing? So here, remembering one point, output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. So output of any thread application depends on the CPU scheduling. Already you know that scheduling is highly dynamic. Output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. So what is the thread is executing and what is present. So at present what is the thread is executing and what is the thread going to get executing in the next, it depends upon the CPU scheduling. Scheduling is highly dynamic. So it is runnable state. Simply you can remember runnable state means that is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. So in these multiple threads are waiting for the CPU, the threads are joined on the queue and waiting for CPU execution. So it follows two procedures, either round robin fashion or first come first serve manner. Next, coming to the after runnable state, CPU is ready, it will move to the which state? So in this one yield method is there, runnable state. Already I told you. So yield is there. So runnable and running. So in the runnable state, multiple threads are waiting on the queue. So after that we can performing yield method. Yield means suppose it pauses currently executing thread. In number of threads are there. So it pauses currently executing thread, passes temporarily and it allows another thread for execution So here let us see, however, if we want a thread control to the other thread. Suppose yield method pauses whenever we can executing the thread, the current thread passes its execution temporarily and it allows another thread for execution So it controls the thread by using which method? Yield method. By using yield method. So yield method controls. It passes current thread temporarily and it allows another thread for execution. One thread controls another thread. We can using yield method. So next state is running state. Next one is running state. What is running state? When a thread will move runnable state to running state. In the runnable state, thread is ready for execution and waiting for the CPU. So whenever CPU is ready, whenever CPU is free, the thread will move runnable state to which state? Running state. So what is running state? So in the running means the thread is executed by the CPU. So in this state, a running thread may relinquish control one of the following situations. Already I told you, in the running state, if any interrupts are there, the thread will move to the which state? Blocked state. So if no interrupts are there, the thread will call the stop method and finishes its execution, finishes its task. So here it controls a running thread may control in one of the following situations. Let us see the first one. It has been suspended using suspend method. So by using suspend method, so during the life cycle of the thread, a thread may enter the many states. It have number of methods. So a thread class defined number of methods. So here suspend is a method. This method is defined by which class? Thread class. So suppose if you want to suspend one thread for a particular period of time, we can call the suspend method. So it has been suspended using suspended method. So if we suspend a thread for a particular period of time, so again we can review the the particular thread by using which method? Resume method. So we can suspend the thread by using suspend thread. After particular period of time, again the thread entering into the queue, again the thread reviewed into the queue by calling which method? Resume method. By calling resume method. This approach is useful when we suspend a thread for some time, but do not want till it. Just we can suspend a thread some particular period of time. After time period is completed, again the thread entering into the queue by using resume method. Suspending means we do not kill it. Just we can suspend particular period of time. Next again, it has been made to sleep method. Sleep is a method. That method is present in which class? Thread class. So, what is the importance of sleep method? We can put a thread to sleep for a specified time. We can put sleep method for a specified time. So, here also for a particular period of time, the thread will move to the sleep state. After time period is elapsed, again the thread will entering into the runnable state. So, here it has been made to sleep. We can put a thread to sleep for a specified period of time. Where time means it is time in milliseconds. Time is milliseconds. So the thread re-enters runnable state as soon as time period is elapsed. Here in the previous slide, suspend and resume. So whenever a thread is suspended, so again we can review it by using resume method. So here we need not call any method. After we can sleep one thread for a particular period of time. After time period is elapsed, the particular thread will re-enter into the runnable state. So here we need not call any method. Again it will come to the runnable state. So automatically after time period is elapsed, it will move runnable blocked state to runnable state. So in order to accessing these methods, first we have to create object of thread class by using sleep, by using object reference. Suppose here I am creating thread t equal to new thread t dot sleep 500. So 500 means here milliseconds. Just we can move that particular thread, the consent thread will move to the sleep state just 500 milliseconds. After 500 milliseconds time is elapsed, again the thread will move into the runnable state. Here let us see this figure. So here running, runnable and suspended. So here running state and runnable state. So here sleep t means time. After time period is elapsed, again the thread will move state to runnable state. Runnable state. Next one. Next another condition of running state means already we completed two conditions. Next one is it has been told wait until some event occurs. Wait until some event occurs. Suppose if any interrupts are there, so the thread will move into the blocked state. Wait for a specified period of time. After completion of interrupts, again the thread will move into the runnable state or running state by using notify method. It has been told to wait until some event occurs. So this is done by wait method. Again the thread is scheduled by using notify method. So here we can call wait and notify. Sometimes we can call wait method. It wait some event after some particular period of time. Again the thread is scheduled by using notify method. So here let us see the thread life cycle diagram. Runnable and running. Runnable means thread is ready for execution. In the running state, thread is executed by the CPU. So if any interrupts are there, the thread will move. If any interrupts means we have, suppose, so if I am suspending a thread for a particular period of time, if I will move, if I can call sleep state for a particular period of time. So next one wait method. So if any interrupts are there, the thread will move running state to blocked state. After completion of the interrupts, again the thread will move blocked state to running or runnable state. After completion of the interrupts, the thread will move blocked state to runnable or running. Runnable means if the CPU is not ready, if processor is not ready for executing our thread, it will move to the runnable state. If the CPU is ready, if the processor is ready for executing our threads, it will move to the running state. If no interrupts are there, this will move to the dead state. After completion of its task, it automatically moves the dead state. It is natural death. So we can call the stop method. We can forcible to kill the thread. This one. Next one, blocked state. A thread is said to be blocked. A thread is said to be blocked when it is suspended. How we can say a thread is in blocked state? So we can suspend a thread. Next one, we can sleep a thread or waiting. So in order to satisfy certain requirements, a blocked thread is considered not runnable but not dead. So suppose we have to sleep, we have to sleep a thread for a particular time period for particular milliseconds. The thread is not killed. So after time period is elapsed, again the thread will move into the running state. So whenever we can say thread is in blocked state, suspending a thread or sleeping or waiting a thread, so we can say the thread is in blocked state. Blocking means just for a particular period of time we can block a thread, but do not kill it. Next one, final one is dead state. So every thread has a life cycle. A running thread entering into the life when it has completed executing run method. So in Java, run is hot of Java method. So in threads, threads are implemented by using thread objects. So in this one, run method is hot of Java method. So we can implementing the run method. We can invoking the run method. So we can invoking the run method. So here, dead state after runnable state, after running and runnable state. So if no interrupts are there, the thread automatically will move to the dead state. It is a natural death. Suppose if you want to stop a thread, so however we can kill it by sending stop messages in any state. Suppose we can explicitly call the stop method. So it is forceful death. So no interrupts are there. Suppose in that situation we want to stop for a particular thread. We can call the stop method. The thread will move into the dead state. So it is nothing but thread life cycle. So thread is nothing but a functionality which could be executing simultaneously under part of the program. Here multi-threading environment, multiple threads are executing concurrently one by one. So a thread is also have a life cycle. During the life cycle of a thread will move one state to another state. So in order to a thread is a class. In order to create object of the class, just we have constructors, and generally a class contains variables and methods and constructors. So a thread will move one state to another state. It have number of methods. So we can creating object of the thread class. We can accessing methods. What are the states available in thread life cycle? Newborn state, runnable state, running state, unblocked state, dead state. So these all are the states of thread life cycle. Newborn means a thread has been created. After thread is created, it will move to the runnable state. In the runnable state, thread is waiting for the CPU. Thread is ready and waiting for the CPU. In the running state, thread is in the running state, CPU executes our thread. So in the running state, any interrupts are there, it will move to the blocked state. No interrupts are there, it will move to the dead state. So in this life cycle, we have used number of methods. We can use number of methods. Next, let us see the programs. Here, write a Java program to implement thread lifecycle methods. Write a Java program through implement thread lifecycle methods. Already we discussed it in the thread lifecycle. So, what are the methods available in thread lifecycle? Yield method, start method, stop method, suspend, resume, wait, notify, sleep method. These all are the methods present in thread lifecycle. So here write a program to implement thread lifecycle methods. So here I am writing the program. Class A extends thread. So in this one, class A extends thread. Class A extends thread. Class A extends thread. So in this one, so A is our class. The class extends the thread class. Thread is a predefined class. So here A is the subclass. What are the default behaviors applicable in thread class? Those all applicable in our program, in our class A. Subclass simply inherits all the properties from superclass thread class. So in this thread class, so in this program, so I am defining run method, public void run. Public void run method. Public void run method. What is the body of this run method? Here I am using for loop. For int I equal to 1. For int I equal to 1. I less than or equal to 5 and I plus plus. I less than or equal to 5 and I plus plus. So I am invoking run method. So to implementing the run method of runnable interface, then functionality of thread in our application. So here, what is the syntax of implementing run method? It is the access specifier public void run. So within the run method, I am using for loop. So I value starting from 1 onwards and I less than or equal to 5 loop. For is the looping statement. It is iterating until the condition becomes false. So here, what is the body of this for loop? Suppose if I equal to 1, I am calling yield method. So here I am calling yield method. If I equal to 1, I am calling yield method. What is the importance of yield method? What is the functionality of yield method? It causes currently executing thread temporarily pauses and it allows another thread for execution. So it controls another thread execution. So it controls the another thread. So what is the importance of yield method? It causes currently executing thread currently pauses and it allows another thread for execution. So here I am calling yield method. Next I am writing one system.out.println statement. System.out.println from thread A. From thread A, I equal to plus I. I equal to plus I. Here I am closing for loop body. Here I am closing for loop body and run method body. Here I am closing for loop body and run method body. So next one, in the similar way we have to accessing. Next I am defining one class. Class B extends thread. Class B extends thread. Class B extends thread. Here B is the subclass, thread is the superclass. B inherits all the properties from superclass thread. So in this one, I am invoking run method. I am invoking run method public void run. Public void run. So in this one run method, so I am using for loop. I am declaring for loop for j equal to 1, j less than or equal to 5 and j plus plus. J less than or equal to 5 and j plus plus. So in this also I am declaring for loop. For loop can be iterated until the condition becomes false. Here j value starting from 1 onwards and j less than or equal to 5. So 1 less than or equal to 5. So 2 less than or equal to 5, 3 less than or equal to 5, 4 less than or equal to 5, 5 less than or equal to 5, 6 less than or equal to 5. It is a false. Until the condition becomes false, for loop will be iterated continuously. Next one, within the for loop, I am declaring. So if j equal to 3, so I am calling stop method. I am calling stop method. So it is the thread is not finishing its execution. So j less than or equal to 5, less than or equal to 5, it will become true. So whenever j equal to 3, I am forced to stop this thread execution. I am forced to stop this thread execution. So next one. So here I am defining, I am writing system.out.println, system.out.println, system.out.println from thread B, j equal to plus j. So here I am closing for loop body and run method. For loop body and run method body. So next here I am closing run method body and for loop body, class body. Here also I am closing for loop body and run method body and class body. So next continuation. So here I am taking one more class C extends thread. I am taking one more class C extends thread. Class C extends thread. So in these class also I am defining run method, public void run. I am invoking run method. Next, what is the body of this run method? So here also I am using for loop for int k equal to 1. For int k equal to 1, k less than or equal to 5 and k plus plus. So here I am writing one system.out.println, system.out.println from thread C, k equal to plus k. K equal to plus k. So suppose if
k equal to 1. If k equal to 1, so next one try block. So if k equal to 1, sleep 500 milliseconds. I will call sleep method 500 milliseconds. 500 milliseconds. Here I am closing try block. Try followed by catch block. In this one, try identifies the exception and catch handles the exception. If k equal to 1, so thread will goes to the sleeping state until 500 milliseconds time is elapsed. So immediately try followed by catch block. Try identifies the exception, catch handles the exception. So here catch interrupted exception. Here catch interrupted exception. Catch interrupted exception. So E is the reference of this catch block. Simply we can close and close the catch block. So it is a block. Next one. So we can close the for loop. We can close the for loop and run method body and a class body Yes, I am taking one more class. Class TH RED class thread demo. So in this one I am defining main method. Already you know that main method have three keywords: public, static, void main, string aux array. So in this one I am creating object of these three classes. What are our classes? A class, B class and C class. A class, B class and C class. Here I am creating object of A class. A equal to new A. In the similar way I am creating object of B class. B equal to new B. So in the similar way I am creating object of C class. C equal to new C. With the help of these object difference I am calling start method. A dot start. Next one B dot start. Next one C dot start. Here I am closing class method body and main method body. Let us see this program here. So here I am defining three classes: A class, B class, C class. A extends thread, B extends thread. So here I am invoking run method. Within the run method I am using for loop. For loop will be iterated and continuously until the condition becomes false. Suppose if I equal to 1, I am calling yield method. So what is the purpose of yield method? So it causes currently executing thread passes and it allows another thread for execution. So here system.out.println from thread A equal to plus A, I am printing I value on the console. So next one B extend threads, I am invoking run method. Here also I am using within the run method body I am using for loop. So if j equal to 3, stop. I am forced to stop j thread execution. So it is not completing, it is not finishing its execution successfully. Whenever if j equal to 3, I am forced to stop this thread execution. So next one system.out.println from thread B j equal to plus A. So here I am closing all the braces, for loop body and the run method body, A class body. Next one in the similar way class E extend thread run method. So here I am using also for loop from thread C k equal to plus K. If k equal to 1, thread will goes to the sleeping state. So here try followed by catch block. Try identifies the exception and catch handles the exception. Suppose if we not put sleep in try block, at the time of exception occurs, program will be terminated abnormally in the middle of its execution. So catch interrupted exception E is the reference. So it rises interrupted exception. So we can open the catch block and close catch block. So we can closing all the braces. Next we can take one more class thread demo. Next in this class we can define the main method. So after that we can create an object of three classes: A class, B class, C class simultaneously. Similarly, so with the help of these object difference I am calling start method. A dot start, B dot start, C dot start. So what is the functionality of the start method? The functionality of the start method will hand over the run method of runnable interface present in the thread class. So whenever we can call the start method, so what is the body of run method? That body could be executing. The corresponding body could be executing. A dot start. Whenever I am calling A dot start, A class run method body could be executing. Whenever I am calling B dot start, B class run method body could be executing. So whenever I am calling C dot start, C class run method body could be executing. So here already I told you output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. Output of any thread application depends on the CPU scheduling. Scheduling is highly dynamic. It decides so which one is the current thread to be executing and what is the next thread is going to get executing. Output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. In the A class, suppose A dot start means yield. So if I equal to 1. So if I equal to 1 yield. So it causes currently thread temporarily passes. So and it allows another thread for execution. Suppose output if it prints so thread A from thread A. So output from thread A I equal to 1. From thread A I equal to 1. So next one from thread B. From thread B J equal to 1 and J equal to 2. And next one from thread C K equal to 1, K equal to 2, K equal to 3 and K equal to 4 and K equal to 5. So here output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. It varies from one system to another system. Scheduling is highly dynamic. First, which one is the current thread is executing and what is the next thread is going to get executing. It decides on the scheduling. It decides on the scheduling. It decides on CPU scheduling. Output of any thread application depends upon the CPU scheduling. So this program means implementing thread lifecycle methods. Thread lifecycle methods. So it is the program about the thread lifecycle methods. Next one.